You know what they say, TGIBFOS. Thank God it's Black Friday on Steam. We've read through thousands of deals to find the very best games at all-time lows to help your watch list get a little lighter. Remember to check our handy on-screen details as each deal has its own ending date. Arguably the definitive multiplayer shooter of the year is Battlefield 6. It rocked the Steam charts multiple times, first as a beta and then releasing this October. It's broken franchise records and shows no signs of slowing down, but you can already get a sizable 15% off and join the ranks of the daily active players, which at last check is north of 200,000 strong, and those are just the Steam numbers. Seriously, you don't need to be a Star Wars fan to be into this pair of brilliant games, Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. Imagine if the studio behind Apex Legends and Titanfall 2 made a Soulsborne, because that's exactly what happened when Respawn developed this original take on From Software's signature gameplay. Except now you get Force powers, which does make it a lot easier than other games in the genre, but that just makes the Force even cooler. If you're just looking for that sweet dollar-to-hour ratio, one of the best deals is Red Dead Redemption 2 at only $15. If you're just looking to mainline the plot, that's going to be about 50 hours on its own, but really this is a game that should be played at a leisure pace, taking in whatever random happenings occur and exploring the late 19th century America, an absurdly dense and detailed recreation of history. Somehow, it took even longer for the previous game in this series, Red Dead Redemption, to come to PC. But considering Part 2 was a prequel, we'll take this on to Rockstar just being really thoughtful for linear continuity fans. And arguably, the best part is the surprisingly developed zombie Elseworld of Undead Nightmare, an equally funny and depressing take on the Lost Generation. 2025 has been such a busy year for games, even the best reviewed titles can get lost in the mix. Case in point, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the follow-up to the Final Fantasy VII Remake, finally came to PC after PlayStation 5 exclusivity. Yes, this is only one part of a remake, but this section of the grand reimagining alone will take you over 160 hours to see everything. There's a whole heck of a lot to do outside of Midgar. Final Fantasy XVI takes several audacious risks for this storied franchise. The narrative is far darker, the general tone is moodier, and the combat, while technically a role-playing game, is built through flashy and technical action mechanics. Now at only $25, you can join the debate on several creative choices we won't spoil here, but no one can deny that pitch-perfect Ralph Ineson voice acting. It's only been a couple of months since Dying Light the Beast launched, and Techland just knocked 20% off in this popular open-world zombie game. You find weapons, craft weapons, and destroy so many of the undead in your pursuit of new supplies, which will help you craft weapons and destroy even more of the undead. It's a vicious cycle, but someone's got to do it. This bargain is just in time for Resident Evil Requiem's return to Raccoon City. When it comes to video game remakes, Resident Evil 2 and 3 didn't simply meet expectations, they excelled. We're talking big budget locations, thoughtfully rebuilding every set into a fully 3D environment. For only $15, you get the entire story of the Raccoon City saga as viewed by Claire, Leon, and Jill. Think of it as only $5 per zombie survival. You might not be able to save the citizens of Raccoon City, but you will save a few bucks. How great is it that Sony now publishes their own PC ports on Steam? Now you don't need to shell out the cash for a video game console to explore some of its very best exclusives. And you still get all the features like ultra widescreen support. If you need a place to start, the recent God of War reboot checks all those boxes, while being among the most uniquely designed games of its era, an original take on third-person action even for the God of War series. I've probably said this before, but God of War Ragnarok was so exceptional because the team cannibalized their own trilogy to simply make the second game big enough for all their ideas. That means the story is even longer, the gameplay is more complex, and the developers over at Sony Santa Monica were nice enough to throw in some free post-launch content. Ragnarok nails Sony's signature sweet spot of gameplay and narrative. There comes a point in every gamer's life where they must come to terms with Kingdom Hearts. It's that crazy sort of franchise that puts characters like Chicken Little and Jack Skellington with Magic Warrior versions of Goofy and Donald Duck. And that's before getting into the actual story centering on an original cast of characters with their own complex backstories. For only $50, you can finally see what the heck all those Sora memes are about in one franchise super package. Critically acclaimed as one of the best games of recent years, It Takes Two is yet another cooperative adventure game by Hazelight Studios. And believe it or not, despite the fun-looking graphics, this game is actually about some pretty heavy relationship issues like divorce. Yeah, and on top of that, yes, being a really fun platformer. So grab a friend, grab a couch, maybe in the other order, and get really good at communicating. When a game's reviews are full of recommends and stories of crashing out, you know you're in for something special. Assetto Corsa Rally is still in early access, only launching in November. It's catering to fans of hyper-realistic simulation racing games where the challenges of mastering curves and cutting times are extremely nuanced. And that makes every small success meaningful. For only $24, you're getting in on the ground floor of this promising new racer. There's always going to be debate among fans about which Uncharted game had the best story, but when it comes to gameplay, it's really hard to beat Part 4's refined version of parkour combat and set pieces. Legacy of Thieves arrived as its own spin-off and includes some fun new constrained open-world puzzles. While being familiar with the original trilogy helps, both of these games stand well on their own. Helldivers 2 remains one of the most popular extraction shooters around thanks to its chaotic physics and haphazard gameplay. The overwhelming odds of bugs and robots would be considered aggravating if Helldivers wasn't so dang good at making it fun. This multiplayer shooter does go on sale periodically, but we're back at the lowest Steam price yet with 20% off. So drop in and then apologize to whatever teammate you landed on. Sorry. It's getting darker earlier and longer, and that can make things less whimsical. Well, for only $4, you can dive headfirst into this cozy, friendly pixel art RPG Garden Story. How cozy? Well, you play as an adorable smiling grape and you're saving the rest of your herbology crew. Are fruits part of herbology? Well, they are plants, and Garden Story grows and grows without ever feeling too big. If you're not well versed in Japanese role-playing games, Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance might appear to be a total word salad, but part of the appeal of the franchise is to chase the fringes of reality and spill out into abstract turn-based combat and monster collection. If you've enjoyed the Persona series but would like to see it go a bit darker, that's exactly what Shin Megami Tensei is for. That and some sweet, sweet blasphemy. Puzzle games are great, but you know what's even better? Puzzle games with a sense of style. Cocoon has both the substance and mood down. This comes from the lead gameplay designers celebrate indie games Limbo and Inside, which if you're not aware are two creepy award-winning platformers. Cocoon flips the perspective to top down but introduces all sorts of new ideas and all the feels to make you go, huh. To be totally honest, the story in Horizon Forbidden West isn't nearly as good as the first games. But then again, it was quite difficult to escalate the stakes from there. Where Forbidden West does improve is in its fascinating robot hunting and crafting system. The missions are more varied and you even get airborne on a pterodactyl-type robot by the end. A great mashup of prehistoric iconography and incredible technology-based enemy design. Pop quiz, what's the best From Software game? Elden Ring, Bloodborne? Well, if you're a true diehard, you'll want to brace yourself for Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, a game so challenging even some of the most seasoned Dark Souls players had to bow out. While other titles give players a simple progression system, Sekiro pushes pure skill. Do you have what it takes to roll credits? What do you say we flip the Soulsborne over to Remnant 2, a much, much easier game than any of From Software's work? Gunfire Games took what gamers liked and, true to their name, added firearms. Sprinkle in some co-op multiplayer and it's almost unrecognizable from the genre. But that shows just how flexible and varied these sorts of design scenarios can still be. Plus, it's a little bit of stress relief to keep those guns nice and powerful. If Sekiro's a bit too stiff of a samurai game, might I recommend the brilliant Sucker Punch open-world game Ghost of Tsushima. Now on PC, you're getting all those extra features including super ultra widescreen support, which makes the already stunning art style of Japan's natural environments even more evocative. Plus, this director's cut includes the post-launch story DLC and multiplayer so you can master the blade all in one go. For just over $16, you can nab the Annapurna Interactive Classics Collection, which contains some of the most celebrated artistic games of the past decade. Gora Gora, Journey, Donut County, Florence, and What Remains of Edith Finch should ring a bell. Now, to be honest, none of these games have anything in common. Then again, there are few games as original and as unusual as the ones in this collection. If there's one word to describe Persona 5 Royal, it's polish. We're talking a fantastic art and presentation style, brilliant turn-based combat, and a soundtrack that's right up there with the best of them. And that's all before getting to the exciting story about teenagers attempting to fix the world one stolen heart at a time. It's a game that flips between the literal and metaphorical, plus it has a talking cat who insists they aren't a cat. $21 for your next anime-style obsession. Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 are on PC, and yes, they're on sale. But if you're still on the fence about Insomniac Games' take on the franchise, you simply must try Miles Morales. You're getting all that New York City skyline to swing through, plus the added bonus of invisibility and electric powers. Is this really still Spider-Man? Oh, absolutely. You can tell because every single victory is tinged with bittersweet tragedy. With great power comes a lot of personal drama, huh? One genre that still isn't totally associated with PCs is the platformer. Well, for only $24, you can play one of the very best exclusives on the PlayStation 5, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. This game brilliantly takes advantage of solid-state drive streaming technology to quickly send players through multiple fully rendered environments through a series of wormholes. And they're full of things you can bonk with a big wrench. Now that's video games. Life is Strange has a passionate fan base that have debated the development of the series since its surprise original critical hit. But it's that first game that many consider the high-water mark, and now you can get that game and its prequel Before the Storm together and remastered for only $12. If you've never heard a single spoiler for Life is Strange, run now, start a new game, and enjoy. Of all the PS5 exclusives, it seems the early access of Returnal is often overlooked. Imagine a 3D action twitch shooter that functions like a roguelike. Returnal isn't just some hypothetical, it's a fully realized and polished game from the gameplay-first developers at Housemarque. Yes, the same studio that made the classic PlayStation 4 launch title Resogun. For all of its flash, it boils down to rock-solid design and plenty of do-overs. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video, but how about a chat back in the comments about what games you picked up and what you'd recommend? Keep clicking around here at GameRant.com and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks everybody!